I'm very curious about the mental part of a job. Because sometimes you just see the description of what people do, but then you need to. I like to think about the contradictions of certain circumstances. For example, when it comes to Michelin star, being able to know that you need to have a certain level of exigence from yourself, but you need to relax because otherwise it will eat you.
Correct. Otherwise it will hit you. I mean, you're gonna eat up yourself with the willing of doing more and having more and get more stars. This was gonna eat you up.
Another contradiction that I see is that on one side you mentioned at the beginning that it's super important to be consistent, but then on the other side you need to constantly be creative.
Creative, correct.
So, and these are kind of like two different states. Like consistency is method, and then creative is like break out of it. Like how do you switch mode A or mode B depending on the moment?
Very interesting question, because creativity is one part we didn't really talk about it, and it is very important for my line of work. How do you switch from consistency to creativity? Okay, so the creative part, all the R&D things you do are things you don't serve.
Mm-hmm.
You serve only a dish, or I serve only a dish when I think it's ready. I never serve a dish which is like, half and half, or maybe we see how's the feedback. I serve a dish only when I think it's 100% ready. And behind, there are trials, there are fails. So the creative process comes at the back end. The consistency comes the moment I'm serving you that dish. And I need to design that dish with my creativity in a way that is also consistent for the customer to have. Meaning, it's not only me who needs to execute, it's my team who execute. So creative process, I mean, you have ideas, you have the creative process, you have the trials with all the technical skill that involve in the dish, and then you have the standardization of it. So once the creative process is done and the technical issues are solved, then you standardize a dish that goes on the menu, and it's consistent because you train your staff enough and you design that dish that with the proper standardization that your staff can follow through. So it's not something that clash together. I mean, it's not something that, okay, I do this, tonight maybe I put this for one night because I just tried an hour ago. No, if I have a product which is great and I already teach my staff how to make the sauce, how to make the garnish and whatever, then tonight I sell this product like this. But, consistency can come in acts after your creative process has been put in act in a way that your staff, your team can follow up through in a consistent way.
So you need to have a method for the creativity.
Yes, for sure.
I
mean, you can be freehand, I mean, you can create 1,000 dishes. What you cannot do, I think, in the line of work I do, and there's people that are doing it, it's not something wrong. There are people that really like spontaneous cooking the dishes and putting them on the menu like this, which are brave. I don't do this. I mean, all my creative process come at the back end.
Yes.
So once my creative process, it happens a lot that I had in my head brilliant ideas that they comes out as a shit. And I always have kind of a rule that I try something 2, 3, maybe 4 times max. After the 4th trial, I give up. I don't do more because meaning it doesn't work. It's taking too much of my energy, too much of my time, so I need to move on something else. Because sometimes I think, this one with this plus this, it works perfectly. So in my mind, it's fantastic. And for one reason or another, maybe, a cooking method which is not appropriate, or, mixing of flavor that in my head works, but then on the palate doesn't work. I try to modify 1, 2, 3, 4 times max, then I move on the next thing. Because otherwise it takes too much of my energy, too much of my thinking, and too much of my time.
You actually replied to a question I had already, like how deep you go on iterations on the same dish. Do you go back to a dish that you tried before and try it again?
Yes. Sometimes, yes. Sometimes it happens that I take something that I did before and I elaborate more. But usually it's not usually are dishes that I already put on my menu before and I want to elaborate more. Not dishes that I didn't put on the menu because it didn't work. So
Okay.
if that didn't work, it goes kind of in the forgotten drawer, you know. And it's hardly that I take it back.
I
But
understand.
some dish that I put on my menu maybe a year ago, or even now I was in Macau, maybe I take that dish as inspiration of, I get inspired from my old dish to make a new dish with maybe the same elements, the same flavor combination, utilizing another proteins or a different technique to highlight it.